second, Ann. Time. Break it up. What's going on here, anyway?
What are you doing? We're fighting.
Call that fighting? Mighty cheesy exhibition, if you ask me.
Who did?
I guess that'll hold you.
Say, how would you boys like to really learn to box? In a real ring with gloves and everything.
Where?
Boys' club.
Sissy stuff.
Hi, champ.
Hi, officer.
What's the trouble?
Oh, nothing. Just trying to get a couple of recruits for my club.
Who is this guy anyway?
Why, you heard of Joe Palooka, the heavyweight champion of the world.
Honest?
Yes.
That's right. Would you like to join the club? We serve ice cream twice a week.
What flavor? Who cares? Where do we sign up?
We'll take you down there right now. Okay, Ann?
Why, sure.
I'll take him down there if you'd like.
Fine. Thanks a lot, officer.
Come along, boys.
Come on, champ. Bye, Palooka.
Bye. I'll say this, you're a good recruiter.
Too darn good. We're getting more boys than we can take care of right now.
Can't you get a bigger place?
We can't keep our heads above water as it is.
I didn't know the club was in trouble.
Oh, nothing that a nice, generous millionaire couldn't cure. Say, you don't happen to have a pet millionaire on the string, do you?
Any number of them.
That's what I thought. Come on, I'll buy you lunch.
Well, hello there, Joe Palooka. Aren't you speaking to your old flames?
Hi, Lorna. Gee, you remember Ann?
I certainly do.
Hello.
Mr. and Mrs. Joe Palooka, Karen Caldwell.
How do you do?
Hello.
How do you do?
I'm married now, Joe.
Gee, that's wonderful.
I knew it would break his heart. I couldn't snag Joe, so I settled for Fletcher Endicott, a nice prosaic businessman.
With a nice prosaic million.
Don't be vulgar, darling. Fletcher and I have a shack on the island. We'd like to have you come out for a weekend.
Oh, that'd be very nice.
How about this weekend? Could you make it Friday?
Well, I don't know if we...
Oh, sure we can, Ann. We'd be glad to come.
Good. Here's my card. You can't miss the place, actually. Just ask anyone for Willow Glen.
See you on Friday, then.
I'll be looking forward to it.
See you Friday.
Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.
There goes the one major failure of my career.
I didn't know you dabbled in prize fighters, darling.
Oh, every growing girl should have a hobby.
By all means.
So,
I think I'll get the shrimp salad.
over your head you'll get it. What's all this old flame business?
Oh, she was just kidding.
And I suppose you were just kidding when you snapped at the invitation.
I didn't realize I snapped.
Like a starving armadillo.
I think you're jealous.
Just because I turn bright green? Don't be silly.
Well, you needn't be. It's her husband I'm interested in, and his $1 million. Gosh, he could sponsor the boys' club for 10 years and never miss it.
Okay. But watch your step. And remember the old Chinese saying I just made up.
What is it?
Man who play around with old flame, liable to get fingers burned.
I'll be careful.
You can't be serious, Lorna. You must be joking.
No.
You mean you actually invited a prize fighter out here for the weekend?
Why not? He's quite nice, actually.
So is the plumber. Let's see if he can come, too.
Don't be sarcastic. I'm looking forward to an amusing weekend.
Well, I hope Sir Basil is amused.
Sir Basil?
You knew he was coming.
Oh, but he's such a monumental bore.
No one who controls as much money as Sir Basil Conway will ever bore me.
I didn't know you were so interested in money.
I wasn't until I suddenly realized that we'd spent most of mine.
Now, don't joke that way, Fletch. It's not funny.
I didn't intend it to be. It's true. We're living on credit, my dear. In fact, if it hadn't been for our poker winnings, we'd have been out of this house last month.
But this is serious.
That's why it's extremely important that we make a first-rate impression on Sir Basil.
But how does that follow?
The Conway Foundation wants to spend $250,000 cementing Anglo-American relationships.
Buy a lot of cement for $250,000.
They intend to invest in charities. And Sir Basil wants someone to handle the funds from this side. I'm happy to say that he's about to select me.
Does the job pay well?
About $250,000 a year.
That's as much as they're giving away.
Exactly. It shouldn't be too difficult to set up a few dummy charities, should it, darling?
Just a spot, thanks. Now, as I was saying, I have been looking high and low for the right type of chap to handle the American end of the Conway Foundation. And I'm extremely happy to say...
Yes, you're happy to say.
I'm happy to say Christmas.
You're happy to say Christmas?
No, not at all. No, I'm happy to say... What is that confounded noise? themselves as if the Ruddy Circus has come to town.
It's the Palookas.
You should have stuck to fighting.
It looks so easy.
I'm terribly sorry, but Lorna invited some other people. If people is the word I'm searching for. But it's too late to do anything about them. Now, what were you saying about the foundation?
Oh, yes. Now, let me see. I'm sure it was something.
You were happy to say?
I'm unhappy to say I quite forget what I was happy to say.
You'd found a man to head the Conway Foundation.
Yes, by Jove, that's right.
Excuse me. Welcome to Willow Glen.
Hi, Lorna. You know Ann.
Hello.
And Clyde Archibald, my trainer. I'm sorry about the Hornet got stuck. We don't always arrive like that.
Really? Perhaps you'd better introduce your guest, Lorna.
Oh, my husband, Fletcher Endicott, Sir Basil Conway, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Palooka. How do you do?
Hello.
I say, aren't you the pugilist?
Watch it, Buster.
Pugilist, that means prize fighter, Clyde.
Oh, well, why don't he speak English like the rest of us?
Clyde, why don't you take the bags to the room? He'll show you where.
Him? He looks more like an undertaker.
Would you like some tea, Anne?
Thanks, I would like a cup.
Fletch, old man, I certainly appreciate this.
What?
Not many people know that the prize ring is my hobby. Harry Greb, Mendoza, Molyneux, Battling Seekie, Tiger Flowers. Those names ring a bell with you, Mr. Palooka?
They certainly do, your lordship.
No, just plain Sir Basil. I'd like it if you call me Sandy.
Okay, Sandy.
Now, come on, let's find some comfortable chairs, have a jolly old chinwag.
Oh, Sir Basil, didn't you want to talk about the foundation?
Oh, that couldn't wait. It isn't every day I find a chap who likes to talk boxing. Now, give me your honest opinion, Joe. What do you think of Stanley Ketchel, the Michigan assassin, as compared to, say, Ruby Bob
Lorna.
Fitzsimmons?
Well, that's a good question. I never saw either of them fight, of course. But as far as the records show, I'd have to give the nod to Ruby Bob.
We'll have to do something about that prize fighter of yours.
He's no prize fighter of mine.
Well, you invited him.
All right, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? Throw him out bodily?
Aren't you clever?
Don't worry. I'm positive Sir Basil is going to offer you the job.
If I can get him away from that muscle-bound moron.
Just leave it to Lorna.
A great fighter, but not a great heavyweight. Now, take...
Time, boys. How about breaking this up while I show Joe the ground?
Oh, fine, Lorna.
Splendid. I'll toddle along with you. Now, take Battling Seekie.
Why don't you stay, Sir Basil, and keep Fletch company?
Fletch? What does Fletch know about Battling Seekie? Oh, but you certainly must have heard of Seekie, the singular Senegalese. Now, in my opinion, pound for pound, he is worth probably more than...
Looks like Joe has found her soulmate at last.
Do you really like that stuff, or do you just drink it to be ladylike?
I actually like him.
Let me fix you a highball.
Oh, no, thanks.
What's the matter? Wouldn't the all-American boy approve?
Don't be silly.
What is it, then? Are you a prude?
I hope not.
Let's see if you are. I'm surprised.
Why?
I thought sure you were the type who would slap a man.
A man I'd slap.
There, how does the tie look?
Great.
Is there a chill in the room? Or am I being oversensitive?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
Well, don't think I'm upset just because you spent half the afternoon traipsing around with that old flame of yours.
Lorna? Oh, she dropped out hours ago.
She did? I mean, she did?
Yeah, she couldn't take all that boxing talk of Sandy's.
Good old Sandy.
You can say that again.
Why?
Because I think I've got it. The money. For the boys' club.
I don't understand.
Sandy's loaded. In fact, that's what he's doing over here, trying to give away $250,000.
Well, that doesn't sound so hard.
Oh, it's not easy to find just the right charities, but I think I've got him sold on the boys' club.
You think?
I'm almost positive. In fact, I think he's going to make me trustee of the whole foundation. It's between me and somebody else.
Who?
He didn't say. Yes?
Dinner will be served shortly.
We'll be right down. Come on, honey, we don't want to keep them waiting.
Oh, just a minute.
Oh, come on, honey. Always at the last moment you forget something. It never fails.
There's just one thing before we leave.
Did you forget something else?
Uh-uh. But don't you think it would be nice if you wore your shoes and your socks? What a lovely place you have, Lorna.
Thank you.
Excellent dinner. My compliments to the cook. Good old roast beef. That's the stuff to give the troops on.
How about a few hands of poker? 5 hands should make a good game. Sir Basil, Joe?
Oh, splendid.
Well, if it's not too rugged.
We play a reasonable game.
I'm afraid I'm not very good at it.
None of us are, darling.
Now, these are 1s, 5s, and 10s.
I bet 10.
Up 20.
Well, I'm out.
Too steep for me.
I don't know.
Well, bet 'em if you got 'em.
All right, I'm in.
20 up 50.
You're 50? And 50 more. You call?
I'm afraid I'm out.
Smart girl, me too. Take it away, it's all yours. Were you bluffing, you dog?
Wouldn't you like to know? Your deal, Joe.
Quitting time, Joe.
How long have you been there?
Long enough. You better turn in, champ.
Do you usually let your chauffeur tell you when to go to bed?
I beg your pardon. I'm only a chauffeur sometimes. I'm always his trainer.
Okay, Clyde.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. How much do I owe you?
$2.25 for you and $6.25 for Sir Basil. Would you like to play some more, Sir Basil?
No, thanks. I'm a bit shy on the old shut-eye. So I think I'll take one of those jolly sleeping pills and toddle off to beddy-bye.
Joe told me all about the foundation, Sir Basil. I think it's wonderful that you're considering him to head it.
What's that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's the truth. I have rather been considering Joe.
But I mean, you practically told me that I was going to.
Well, it's between the two of you chaps. But I'm afraid I'll have to wait for the answer to pop up in my old noggin. Oh, I'll have it by morning, no doubt. Well, good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Not bad.
Stop grinning over that old chicken feed. Didn't you hear what Sir Basil said? You might lose the foundation.
Unless I can make Joe Palooka look very bad by tomorrow morning.
But how?
Didn't you hear Sir Basil say he was going to take a sleeping pill?
Yes.
Then it shouldn't be too difficult.
Come in.
It's me.
Come in anyway.
Champ, tell me, how much you drop?
$2.25.
I think we had a lot of fun for $2.25.
$225, honey. We were playing for dollars.
What? I'm sick.
Get well. You ain't paying.
Don't be silly.
You lose $225 in a phony game, and I'm silly?
What do you mean?
They were whipsawing you, raising you out, using hand signals. They did everything but use a gun. That guy and his wife, what shop's this?
You're too suspicious. They're society people.
Yeah, you mean society. Next time you shake hands with them, you better count your fingers.
Are you sure, Clyde?
Sure, I'm sure. And I want to get back that money you lost.
Well, forget about it, Clyde. We lost the money, and that's that. Now, you better hit the sack.
Where are you sleeping, Clyde?
On a cot in the basement.
In the basement.
Sure. They can't humiliate me. I'm too ignorant. Good night, Champ. Mrs. Champ.
Good night.
Good night, Clyde.
$225. Do you know what I could do with all that money?
Yeah. Tell me in the morning.
Did you call Mr. Palooka and Sir Basil?
Yes, sir.
Did you search the servants' quarters and the garage thoroughly?
And I asked the cook to search my room.
What's up, old boy? I mean to say, 8 o'clock in the morning. Christmas, that's a bit too thick. Even the ruddy larks are still tucked in.
I'm sorry, but I wish you'd go through your pockets to see if anything's missing. I'm afraid there's been a burglary.
No, everything's here.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, my money clip's gone. And I might add, a rather healthy amount of the old negotiable.
And you're missing nothing.
Not a thing.
I see.
What do you see?
Would you mind coming down to the basement with me?
Now, wait a minute. If you think Clyde took...
All of my servants have been searched. I realize that Clyde is an old and trusted friend of yours. Perhaps there's some reason why you don't wish to have him searched.
No reason at all. You're just wasting your time.
Then suppose we waste some time downstairs, shall we?
Do you mind if I wake him up? Clyde! Clyde!
He just left.
Get up, Clyde. Get up.
You just missed him. Try again tomorrow.
7, 8, 9...
Hiya, chap. Hey, what's up?
Something's missing. Mr. Endicott wants to search your things.
Okay, but if there's anything missing, I know who's got it.
Well, I guess this about settles it.
Hey, where'd you get that?
In your pillow. Sir Basil will bear me out.
I'm afraid that's right.
Champ, this is a frame-up.
It's always a frame-up, every time.
Hey, this ain't gonna fix the foundation for you, is it?
Not if you didn't take that stuff.
Oh, really?
Are you gonna believe me, or are you gonna believe these shopsters?
Don't forget, Clyde, I'm still in your corner.
What do they say about birds of a feather?
Would you like to see some real birdies?
Take it easy, Clyde. Take it easy. Well, what do you want to do?
Nothing. I don't want the police brought in on this. After all, he's a friend of yours. Coming, Sir Basil?
Come on, champ. Let's call Ann and get out of here.
I can't, not yet.
Why not?
How did that stuff get in your pillow?
I don't know, champ. Honest, you gotta believe me.
Get dressed. I'll see you upstairs.
My watch, my ring, my cigarette lighter, my wallet. I'll just check and see if anything's missing.
Is it all there?
$95 in cash, that's about right. Oh, yes. And your check for $225. All present and accounted for.
How about you, Sandy?
Well, now, let's see. There's a 10, another 10, and a 5. There's no use anyway. I can't for the life of me remember how much money I had. I'd rather think it was $90.75. Or was it $75.90?
Do you actually think your friend Clyde is innocent, or are you just being loyal?
He's innocent.
Nonsense. Roberts, we caught your friend with jam on his face, and you know it.
Maybe somebody put the jam on his face.
Yes, sir.
Would you have that Clyde person come up here?
I'm sorry, Mr. Endicott. Mr. Clyde's gone. Cook saw him running toward the road some time ago.
There's your innocent pal.
Give me the police. I want to pick up on a man. Missing persons. Clyde Archibald, 200 pounds, 6 foot, ex-fighter. That's right, broken nose. Wearing a kind of plum-colored uniform. Last seen on Highway 12 near Willow Glen. This is Joe Palooka, Rutland 462. That's right, Willow Glen. I'll be here.
He's just trying to keep you from making a decision, Sir Basil. He still thinks he might be made trustee of the Conway Foundation.
Well, after all, if his friend is really innocent...
I wouldn't worry about that.
Will you hold your decision until we find Clyde?
I will.
And what if we don't find Clyde?
Then, mister, you're in a lot of trouble.
You've been sitting there for hours. Why don't you take a walk or something?
I'm all right.
I'll get you some coffee.
Well, swell. Oh, hi.
I'm glad you're alone. I wanted to talk to you.
Okay. Talk?
You're dead, Joe. You just haven't got sense enough to lie down.
Meaning?
You're finished. You'll never get the Conway Foundation, not now.
Why not?
Because Fletcher's infinitely smarter than you are.
Tell me, how did he frame Clyde?
Haven't you figured that out?
Well, he stole the money from himself and Sandy, kept it in his pocket. He palmed it and pretended to find it in Clyde's pillow.
That's it.
Say, about those poker games of yours. Never give a sucker an even break, is that it?
You're not so terribly stupid, are you?
Sometimes I wonder.
Did you wonder why I wanted to talk to you alone?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did.
We can't afford to let you have the Conway Foundation. I'm really sorry to do this. You might not believe it. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for you. But what your reputation needs is a nice big handful of mud.
Ann! Hey, Ann, come here.
Well,
Yes, Joe, what
I
is
might have
it?
expected something
What do you
like this,
want?
Palooka.
You sure might have, seeing you rigged it like everything else around here.
What's the matter?
And it's Mr. Palooka to you.
What's going on here?
That's a good question.
What did he do?
What did he do? Well, for one thing, he invited a little Englishman to his house. He was the host, mind you. So what does he do? He gets him into a phony poker game and takes better than $600 from him. His guest, mind you. They don't treat you that way in the Cannibal Islands. The stinkingest savage in the world respects a guest in his house. But not this hotshot. Oh, no.
Are you quite through?
Brother, I haven't even started. Item 2. It's not enough to just cheat his guests. Oh, no. That's just a warm-up for this hotshot. He steals from them. He sneaks into their rooms at night and picks their pockets. But he's still not through. He plants the evidence on somebody else. And I can make a better man than you from the dirt from under Clyde's fingernails. Wait a minute, there's more. We haven't come to the big question yet. The $250,000 jackpot you were going to hit. Oh, you were going to live it up on that money. The money that should have gone to help make kids strong. The money that was earmarked to help strengthen legs and straighten backs. Tell me, sport, what were you going to do with that money? Buy a yacht? Or a couple of racehorses? Oh, you're a peach, you are. You ought to go down in history as the living answer to the question, how low can a human being get? And we better get out of here, Ann, before I decide to take you apart and find out just what makes you so rotten.
It's a very beautiful story, but you'll never be able to prove it to Sir Basil.
That won't be necessary. I've heard the whole thing. And I must say it was most enlightening.
Why, you dirty eavesdropper.
We all have our faults, my dear. You talk too much and I listen too much. C'est la vie.
Clyde! What's the matter? Can't a guy take a little stroll without being picked up for vacancy?
It's all right, Clyde, you've been cleared. Thank you, officer.
I think we'd all better go. We can discuss the foundation in a more congenial atmosphere.
But Sir Basil...
You heard what the man said? We'll discuss it in a more conventional atmosphere. Hit the road, riffraff.
Don't you think that these people should be punished?
They have each other. That's punishment enough.
You moron.
Well, now that everybody's happy, shan't we toodle off?
You know, your man Clyde strongly resembles the light heavyweight champion, Slapsy Maxie Rosenbloom.
Yes. That bum perished the thought.